Hello everyone. I took another look at this now that the field conditions have shaped themselves up and revealed an error, in any event, one error. But I took a look at this just to see now what was going to happen with Mike's idea of, and I like the idea of getting rid of some of this bric-a-brac down here. So this was the actual construction drawings back in December, and this was after we discovered the error in the field dimensioning, and it came up like that, and I liked that because that was the only thing I really didn't like about this. Of course, I didn't really realize how closed in it was going to be here and what you were exactly. You were looking for a bigger open space, but I liked that we picked up that height in any event. Now, recall I had this piece of gutter and downspout, and that was really, if the glass roof was installed, it can be done without, like that now. And then that's what we had after and we still hadn't had our whole field dimensioning correct yet, but that was what we were at. And now this is actual 6'11.5" is really close apparently to where we are now. And all this stuff is going to go away. Now we have 8'10" to the top of that. And there are just a number of brackets that you can use up there. These brackets shown here are the Westlake style, where this ends. It's almost a perfect quarter circle here. These are 28 by 28 Westlake style shown here. And that is with nothing. And there are any variety of these types of brackets that you can use. In terms of making them yourself though, that is an 11.5 inch wide piece there, rectangle, and it's 42 inches long for what it's worth. And in terms of a person making something like this themselves, this is an 11.5 inch wide piece here by about 42 inches long to make that 28 by 28 Westlake. And that is only a 2 by 10 there, or 10 inch wide there, 9.5 inch wide, the blue. So you would have to glue them up really to make that work, even for that smaller brace there. This is all I modeled then, is the Westlake and a couple variations of these Thornton braces. That's the Westlake. And the 24 by 36 Thornton, and the big 36 wide by 40 high Thornton. And yes, you would have to glue them up to make that work. But this is the interface then with these. This is the interface if it was 28 by 28. And this is probably why, if these are put up, I kind of favor this, because you've eliminated that stuff on the inside, this horizontal piece and this dental on the inside of that porch. So I would like that stuff to just die against that like that. And that's doable, but really I don't think these bigger ones do anything at all for the structure. So this is this one. These are these bigger ones, and also I talked to Damon about this. These should actually just be the 3.5 inches wide, just to treat those joints better. Yeah, these big ones just don't apply. This is more applicable. This is the Thornton. Now either the Thornton or the Westlake in 28 by 28 is going to be a very same cost. I wouldn't use that with all this up here. But the Thornton, when you get 4 of them, it nets out $11.70, which is about $146 a piece net. And I have a couple quick things out here, just so I don't drag this out. Here's that. These are those Westlake 28 by 28, and you have eliminated that stuff inside, that horizontal, or those dental on the inside and that horizontal piece. But out here, there's a little detail there, and I wasn't sure how you're going to treat that. But I treat it like that, put a little piece of cove in there with a backer block. The backer block is up here, and the cove is against it. Like that. Inside then, a number of things with regard to this crown mold. You do it like I'm showing it here, which is just leaving that top piece here at this side and dyeing your WM74 this 1.5 or 1.25 inch high, molding into it. And we know you're getting rid of that horizontal piece. So that goes away. And you can treat this up there like this, where you just have this block and then that dies against it, but there's a seam right here if you do it that way. And so I've increased the height of that crown mold to 2 1/4, up from 1 1/4 or 1 1/2 or whatever it was. I think it was 1 3/8. And if you wanted to go to a straight cove there, you could use a cove as well. A 2 1/4 inch cove. There is the 2 1/4 inch typical bed mold stuff, and I call this out at the end. And there is a straight cove molding at 2 1/4. There's the 2 1/4 bed mold from Reckworth, and this is an East Coast molding, should be available in most places, and that's a 2 1/4. That is a treatment of that crown mold at that little place there. So again, those things go away. And then over here, we had this like this when we had this higher pitched roof. The way you've got it framed now, it looks like it's going to end up more like this, with this downspout out here on the edge. And I don't know how close that downspout color is going to match. I'm just showing it matched right now. Now here's a series going backward from these thick ones, I believe, from how it, when you're coming out that door onto your porch, at 60 inches high. I mean, that is just ridiculous there. I think we can all agree with that. Those are I think all the 5 1/2s have to go away. Now these are 3 1/2s, 5 1/2. And these are 3 1/2 inch wide Westlake here, and that is nothing, which I actually like that probably the best actually. But here are the different looks from outside. This is what we had been working with the construction drawings we are. Once the errors are corrected and everything's fixed up how we want it. This is not, I like this probably as well as I like nothing, but that is with the Westlake braces. They die right in here. Thornton or Westlake, whichever ones. I believe those are the Westlake. And these big ones just do nothing at all for it. Now, I don't know about these. Here, these tall Thorntons. These are 24 wide by 36 high, 3 1/2 inches wide. And these big ones, I don't know, maybe if they were big enough that they were coming all the way up and making that Gothic arch. And they do make them that large, but it wouldn't work out that way here. But you could get these large enough that this would be 3 Gothic arches across here. I did not bother showing that because I didn't like the big chunky ones. Really, I didn't personally. And these are these 36 by 40, but they're only 3 1/2 inches wide. And there's with nothing. And to me, that's really not bad. So Except when you do this, if you do this, you almost have to carry both this dental mold and that horizontal, and this horizontal and this dental mold. Those would need to be carried back, I think. If you did nothing here, I think that would help. But otherwise, I kind of like it tall like this. A person could hang baskets up here. That's my feeling. And, I mean, the upside of all that, you could build it like this and add brackets at any point. Any brackets at any point, because they're not going to be structural. I mean, that might be something, you know, those giant ones, but they would be pretty pricey. So, enjoy whichever direction you go, and I hope this at least helps a little bit or clarifies. And I don't know why these photos aren't developing the correct way, but finally, this will be a couple rotations around with various, and you'll just have to slow it down or whatever and look at them. I think the only thing that's maybe not shown is the one without anything at all. But that'll be that, and I look forward to, if you need any help with anything, just let me know. Thanks very much. It's been a pleasure. Or none at all. These ones are 24 by 28. This is nothing. These are actually 28 by 28. And that is a 12-inch wide, 11.5-inch wide square there. So, and that's a 9.5-inch wide square.